You know that feeling when someone says one small thing and it wrecks your whole day? Here's the wild part. That emotional hit only lasts about 90 seconds in your body unless you keep it going. Your brain releases stress chemicals, your heart kicks up, your jaw tightens, your face gets hot. That wave is real, but it naturally drains away fast. What keeps anger alive is what you do next. You replay the scene, you rehearse the perfect comeback, you rerun the insult like a movie trailer. It's like a smoke alarm going off because you burned toast, and instead of opening a window, you keep making more toast. Next time someone cuts you off in traffic, watch the first 90 seconds. It's just a surge. Then notice the story that follows. What an idiot. And suddenly you're still mad 20 minutes later, not because the body is still flooded, but because the mind is still feeding it. Right there is the first power move. Catch the moment the wave ends and the story begins. Let the chemicals wash out. Don't keep paying with your attention. Stay with me, because this one shift changes everything. Source people say they know how to push my buttons, like they're a helpless remote control. But nobody can press buttons you don't hand them. The idea that other people have magic control over your emotions is a myth. If something sets you off fast, it's usually connected to an old sore spot, a past wound, or a value that feels attacked. So when someone pushes you, they're not controlling you. They're exposing a weak point that's asking for attention. A coworker makes a sarcastic comment and it lights you up. Instead of snapping, pause and ask, what is this really about? Maybe it feels like being talked down to. Maybe it reminds you of a time you weren't respected. Maybe it hits the same place an older criticism used to hit. Suddenly the coworker isn't the boss of your mood. They're a mirror showing where you still need healing or clearer boundaries. That's the upgrade. You stop acting like a device reacting to inputs, and you start acting like the operator choosing the setting. No one gets to decide your inner weather without your permission. Think of the person who triggers you most. What they bring up in you is information, not destiny. Source. Here's another twist. What you call anger is often not the main feeling. Anger usually shows up like a bodyguard. It steps in to protect softer emotions like hurt, fear, embarrassment, or shame. Anger feels strong, vulnerability feels risky. So anger volunteers to speak for the parts of you that feel exposed. Someone criticizes you and you explode. Under that is often, I feel unseen, or I feel disrespected, or I'm scared I'm not good enough. Your partner forgets something important and you blow up, but underneath is, do I matter to you? When you name the real feeling, the whole conversation changes. I felt forgotten lands differently than you never do anything right. One builds closeness, the other builds distance. And this connects to your real superpower. There is a tiny space between a trigger and your response. Most people don't notice it. They just fire. But that space exists, even if it's a microsecond. In that space, you can ask, what response will I respect tomorrow? That one question slows the impulse and puts you back in charge. Don't skip this part. It's where your freedom lives. Source. Now let's make it practical. What if you could watch emotions like weather instead of getting dragged through every storm? Inside you is an observer part that can notice what's happening without becoming it. You can think, I notice anger rising instead of I am anger. You can think, I'm having the thought that this person is rude instead of declaring it as absolute truth. Your teen rolls their eyes, your chest tightens. The observer steps in, I notice irritation. That tiny label creates distance, and distance creates choice. Try this the next time you feel heat in your body. Name it like a reporter, not like a fighter. And here's a mindset flip that makes hard people easier. Treat difficult people like emotional trainers, not friends, not heroes. Trainers. The critical boss trains your calm under pressure. The passive-aggressive neighbor trains your boundaries. The person who keeps testing you trains your patience and self-respect. When you see it that way, you stop feeling hunted and start feeling coached. You respond with curiosity. What do you need to feel confident about this? You'll want to remember this line. Every trigger is either a lesson or a leash. Which one will you pick? Source. To protect your peace, you don't need walls. You need gates. Boundaries are not punishment. They're clarity. I understand you're upset, but I don't do yelling. We can talk when it's calmer, simple, firm, clean. Or with the friend who only complains, I care about you. I can listen for 5 minutes, and then we either look for solutions or we change the topic. That's not cold. That's sustainable. And sometimes the smartest move is a timeout. Not running away, a strategic pause so your nervous system resets and your thinking brain comes back online. This matters to me, but I'm not in the right space to respond well. Let's talk after dinner. That can save weeks of repair. Also, map your triggers. Keep a quick journal for 1 week. Who, what they did, what it reminded you of, what you felt underneath. Patterns appear fast. Finally, remember this. You're not reacting to reality, you're reacting to the story you attach to it. Same short email, 2 stories. They hate me creates fear. They're busy and direct creates calm. Edit the story, change the feeling. But don't just collect ideas like entertainment. Practice one tool for a week, maybe the 90 seconds, maybe the observer line, I notice emotion rising. Small reps rewire you. If you want the life where people can't steal your peace, this is the path. If this helped, hit like, share it, subscribe, and tell me what part you're going to try first. Source. You know that moment when one comment, one look, one rude move flips your whole mood like a switch? It feels like they stole your peace. But the first truth is this. The body part of anger is short, about 90 seconds. Your system drops stress chemicals, your pulse jumps, your face tightens, your stomach turns. That wave is real and it can feel huge, but it has a natural end. What keeps it alive is not the moment, it's the replay. It's you running the scene again and again, adding words they didn't even say, building the case in your head, practicing your speech like you're walking back into court. It's like a smoke alarm screaming because you burned toast, and instead of opening a window, you keep making more toast just to prove the alarm is right. Next time someone cuts you off, don't argue with the wave, just track it. Say in your head, this is the 90 seconds. Feel the heat, feel the urge. Then notice the second part, the story. How dare they? People are idiots. That story is the fuel. Here's a retention line you need. If you stop feeding it, it stops. If you keep feeding it, it eats your day. Watch for the exact moment the wave wants to pass and your mind tries to grab it again. That moment is your first exit door. Take it. Source: a lot of people talk like victims of other people's moods. They know how to push my buttons, like you're a helpless remote control and they're holding the remote. But nobody can press buttons you don't hand them. If a person pushes something in you, it means there is already a wire connected inside, usually an old wound, a past insult, a place where you still feel small, or a value that feels violated, like respect, fairness, loyalty, honesty. So the trigger is not proof they control you. It's proof you have a sensitive spot that needs attention. A coworker says something sarcastic and you feel the instant spark. Instead of firing back, do a fast internal scan. What is this really touching? Is it the fear of looking stupid? Is it the feeling of being talked down to? Is it the memory of someone who used to belittle you? When you see it clearly, the spell breaks. They are not making you angry. They are pointing at an unprotected area. And the more you treat triggers as data, the less you treat them as emergencies. Quick test. Think of your biggest trigger person. If they vanish tomorrow, would the same trigger still exist with someone else later? Most times, yes, because it's in the pattern, not the person. That means you can heal it, train it, and outgrow it. Source. Now, the deeper truth, anger is often the top layer, not the real feeling. Anger is like a security guard. It shows up fast to protect softer emotions that feel unsafe to admit. Hurt, fear, shame, disappointment, feeling ignored, feeling not good enough. Anger feels strong, so it speaks first. But if you only speak anger, you never fix what started it. Someone criticizes you and you snap. Under it might be, that stung, I want to be valued. Your partner forgets something important and you explode. Under it might be, I feel forgotten. I feel like I don't matter. This is where your power grows because the fix changes. If you express only anger, people defend themselves. If you name the real feeling, you invite understanding. I felt overlooked lands differently than you never care. Same situation, different outcome. Here's a line to keep you watching. Anger is loud, but it's rarely the truth. The truth is quieter. So do this the next time you feel anger rise. Ask one simple question before you speak. What's the softer feeling under this? Then put it into plain words, not dramatic words, simple words. That hurt. That scared me. That embarrassed me. You'll notice your body calms faster because you're not fighting reality, you're naming it. And when you name it, you can handle it. Source. There is also a tiny space most people miss, the gap between the trigger and the reaction. It might be a blink, but it's there. That gap is where freedom lives. The trigger hits, the body surges, and your finger wants to type the reply. Your mouth wants to bite. Your tone wants to cut. In that micro moment, give yourself one command: pause. Then use one pride question. What response will I respect tomorrow? That question does something important. It pulls you out of autopilot and puts you back in the driver's seat. Someone sends a passive-aggressive email. Your instinct is to strike back fast, but fast replies are usually expensive. Expensive in trust, expensive in reputation, expensive in peace. So instead, you draft it and don't send. Or you stand up and take water. Or you breathe slow for 10 seconds and let the first 90 seconds pass. Here's the rule: never reply while your body is still in the first chemical wave. Wait until the wave has drained, then decide. And if you mess up, don't turn that into another story that lasts all day. Learn and reset. Stay with me, because the next tool makes this gap easier to find even when you feel hot. Source. You need an observer mode, a part of you that watches emotions like weather instead of becoming the storm. The emotion can rise without owning you. You can notice "I feel irritation" without turning it into "I must attack." You can think "I'm having the thought that they're disrespecting me," instead of treating your thought like a fact carved in stone. This small shift changes everything because it creates distance, and distance creates choice. Your teen rolls their eyes, your chest tightens. Observer mode says, "I notice heat in my body. I notice the urge to prove a point." Now you're watching the emotion, not drowning in it. Try this sentence out loud when you feel triggered. "I notice emotion rising." Say it like you're describing a cloud moving across the sky, not like you're declaring war. If you want it to look even cleaner, add one more line: "I can handle this wave." Then breathe low and slow. Let the wave pass. Here's a retention line that keeps you practicing. You don't need to kill emotions, you need to stop being controlled by them. The calmest people aren't made of stone. They just stay in observer mode longer than everyone else. That's a skill, not a personality. Source. Now change the way you see difficult people. Instead of enemies, see trainers. Not because they're right, not because you should accept bad behavior, but because they give you practice. The critical boss trains your calm under pressure. The person who complains nonstop trains your boundaries. The passive-aggressive neighbor trains your patience and your clear words. When you see it this way, you stop asking, "Why are they doing this to me?" And you start asking, "What strength can I build here?" That mindset turns irritation into training. Then you add boundaries, which are not walls, they are gates. You can care and still say no. "I understand you're upset, but I don't respond well to yelling. We can talk when it's calmer." Simple, firm, no drama. Or, "I care about you. I can listen for a few minutes," and then we either look for solutions or we switch topics. That protects your energy without turning you cold. And sometimes you need a timeout, not as escape, but as skill. "This matters to me, but I'm not in the right headspace to respond well. Let's continue later." That one sentence can prevent damage that takes weeks to repair. If you want peace, learn to pause conversations before they become scars. Source. To make this automatic, you need two more habits: mapping triggers and cutting stories. Your triggers are not random, they follow patterns, certain tones, certain types of authority, certain jokes that feel like old pain. Keep a simple trigger note for 1 week. What happened, who was there, what was said, what it reminded you of, and what the softer feeling was. When you see the pattern, you stop stepping on the same landmine. You start walking around it. Then comes the story stopper. You're not only reacting to events, you're reacting to your meaning of events. Your mind writes a script. They don't respect me, they're trying to control me, they hate me. But those are guesses, not facts. So train yourself to ask what else could be true. A short email could mean they're busy, not angry. A sharp tone could mean they're stressed, not cruel. Same moment, different story, totally different emotion. And don't try to master all of this at once. Pick one tool for 1 week, just one. Maybe the 90 seconds, maybe observer mode, maybe the pride question. Repetition rewires you. Small reps, daily. The person who never gets bothered didn't get lucky. They trained. If you want that life, start now. And tell me which tool you're using first, because saying it makes it real. Source.